Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Howdy there, MJ Bulls. Congrats on a green day. One green day in a sea of red, but we'll take it. Congrats to the APHA Bulls. Appreciate APHA pulling everybody up and initiating the short-term bounce. Again, at this point, we are looking for daily lower highs on most Canadian MJ names. US MJ is a bit of a different setup, so we'll look at those two distinct different setups. And again, anti-FOMO, right? Let's zoom out. This is what we have when we zoom in. So we zoom in, we say, oh man, look at the bulls go. It's great, huge gains. Yes, there's opportunity here. Yes, we've gone 14% since the low. Zoom out, zoom out. Where do we stand compared to where we were a few months ago? Nowhere even in the same picture. We are still very much in a daily downtrend. Do not forget that. I am structuring all of my trades based on that underlying knowledge that we are in a downtrend and we're just looking for daily lower highs on this current bounce. So I ended up on the last oversold bounce being able to lock in a week maker and missing all of the downside. And I'm going to be looking to do the same, and I've already locked in a lot of this move. Today was a nice week maker. Why did I swing CGC when I don't normally swing? Number one, the 4-hour RSI. It was at our historical bounce levels. History is our friend, and it has played out yet again. With only one other time where the 4-hour RSI got lower, I'm comfortable in that scenario. The second reason I was swing trading is it was a position that I would have gladly added 200% more to end up getting a really large position, but I would have been comfortable doing that with a number of things. Again, 4-hour RSI, but honestly, just the psychology of the marketplace right now. The fact that all of this fear and all of these articles are coming out had me confident that at least a short-term bottom was likely nearby. Yes, I gambled on the APHA earnings, but I gave my thoughts on the APHA setup yesterday in the video about how we had pulled back 18% in 3 days. The bears had already priced in bearish earnings, and anything but bearish earnings sees a bullish reaction in that scenario. So, what did I do today? Today I sold a third of my position in pre-market at 1949. To just lock it in and get nice and comfortable. I sold a third of my position on the initial bull move up, and then I sold the last third in the 20 teens. So I was back to all cash after this morning run. The S&P 500 was picture perfect as far as how the market could start the day and benefit the MJ sector. So the fact that the S&P 500 went straight up for the first hour, hour and a half of trading definitely benefited the sector. So I exited all of my position. I did have an intention of keeping some of my position, but when I saw the 5-minute time frame get this extended, I said, that's over a week maker for me. I am locking that in because we are in a downtrend, and as long as I am playing counter the trend, if you give me solid profit, I will take it every single time. I don't care if the train leaves without me. That's all that I'm looking to do is lock in profit and have more money than yesterday. That's just my goal. So for CGC, I re-entered as soon as I saw the 15-minute time frame. I traded a couple times, but the main trade that I made was watching the 15-minute equilibrium, same as yesterday, and I made a play off of the 15-minute high or low, same as yesterday. So yesterday I entered 2 little positions on this consolidation with 1849 as my level, and then today I entered on this consolidation under $20 using 1972 as my stop. If I were to stop out, it would be a small fraction of my profit on the day because it was a partial re-entry. I was not re-entering with the full position, and now I'm heading into tomorrow with a partial position that if we do not break 2043 first thing tomorrow morning, I will quickly exit. If we do break it, I will probably exit later in the morning and lock in another day or two maker. In a longer term portfolio, so I am managing someone close to me's portfolio, and I made an initial entry at 2470s. Ended up with great gains, stopped out break even. Re-entered yesterday, their same position except with more shares because it's much cheaper. Same thing, I sold half today. I now have a stop loss for the second half down at the low. at a break-even point, and if this is just another lower high and lower low, I'll stop out break-even and I'll look to do it all again after another leg down. So anything on the daily chart under 2317 is just a daily lower high. We know we're very likely to form a daily lower high because we can still go 15% and form a daily lower high. So we've already seen a great bounce. People like me are taking profit. You better believe that bears are sitting there and waiting to enter on another daily lower high. Changing the daily trend is step number one to putting pressure on shorts. So what I would need to see for these bulls to prove something to me, top out, perhaps at the daily 12-period exponential resistance, hold the low down at 1789, and then see continuation. That will tell me this time's different, because last time we had the same setup and bulls looked close to pulling that off, but they couldn't do it, they rejected, and they dropped to a lower low. APHA, if you remember, if you've been watching these videos, what happened the last time? I was saying it in my videos, I said it on Midas Letter, we must see a daily trend change. The gap up is great, it's FOMO, it's one day. If we do not see a daily trend change from here, it doesn't mean much. We then saw a lower high and lower low, lower high and lower low. We did not change the daily trend after earnings. So best case scenario is whenever we top out, wherever that is, higher low, higher high. Has to happen. If it does not happen, the bulls prove absolutely nothing. We topped out right at resistance of 530, make that 553. We topped out at 554, so there's a double top there. If we break that level, any short that's entered in the last 11 days is now underwater if they have not exited already. That's putting pressure on shorts. But again, what I want to see, like what it means to me if we see a daily higher low and higher high is that number one, and most importantly, the shorts re-entering positions are not strong enough to outweigh the bulls entering long positions. So whether it's bulls that sell the initial move up and then rebuy, or whether it's bulls that miss the move and look to get a position on the higher low, if we change the daily trend, that tells us the momentum has shifted. The bulls are overpowering the bears in the short term. If we change the daily trends, we're just looking for weekly lower highs as well. It's only step number one. It's a long road ahead for these bulls. If we do not change the daily trend, can't say anything about a bottom being set, can't say anything about a shift away from the fear market until the daily trend changes. Short-term time frames, hourly higher lows are key for tomorrow. 1972 key on CGC, and for APHA that hourly higher low is 533 to try and keep the bulls in full control. Need to break that double top first thing tomorrow. Otherwise, it's an inverse head and shoulders pattern where we have our left shoulder, our head, and then we'll be looking for a right shoulder to form if we cannot break that resistance and we start daily consolidation. ACB, anything under 428 is just a lower high. Hourly support is in there. Find it for yourself. I know you can do it. I trust in you. Cron, anything under 944 is just a lower high on the daily. Great bounce. Not changing this daily trend anytime soon. We got to top out, hold a higher low, break to a higher high. I still want to see bull crosses of these exponential moving averages. When's the last time CGC has had a 12 and 26 period cross bullish? And the answer is up here before we topped out at 52. Has not happened since then. It'll be meaningful for me when that happens. APHA did see it happen without much follow through. It's less meaningful for me. ACB saw it with no follow through. Actually, I take that back. ACB has not. So bottom line is what I'm pointing out is the names that have not seen it happen yet, it'll be meaningful for me. The names that saw it happen with no follow through, it's less meaningful. Just like RSI, if I go back and look at a stock's history and the RSI drops down to 15 like it's nothing and we're trading at 20, we can absolutely go lower. If I look at CGC and the historical bounce range is 20, that's definitely more meaningful at 20 than it would be on the other stock. History is our friend. So Cron, we're looking for a daily lower high to be set. When we lose hourly uptrends, our daily lower high will be set. Hourly consolidation into the end of the day. Anything above the low of the day is an hourly higher low. TLRY, anything under 2496 is a lower high. We do have a double bottom at the all-time low, but it does not mean a thing to me until we change the daily trend. Then I'll say, hey, maybe that double bottom has something behind it. But for right now, anything under 2496, another 10% plus to the upside, just a lower high, daily exponential resistance approaching. VFF, very weak, notably weaker than its peers. 781 is resistance. It's a potential bear flag right now. We closed weak, the hourly time frame. No follow through. Trying to hold support down at 696, 693, 695. Break those levels, and another lower low is in the cards. Definitely a red flag for VFF, the fact that it's not participating in this bounce. Hexo finally got a bounce going. So Hexo 440 was a very clear bull break, 240, a very clear bull break signal this morning, and it was nice that we opened right on it and then shot up to 272 real quick on that level breaking. So the change in the hourly trend means zoom out and look for a daily lower high. When we lose the hourly uptrend, our daily lower high will be set. You better believe there's Hexo bears waiting for that daily lower high entry. Bears are going to have an opportunity to make entries here for these daily lower highs, whether it's tomorrow or Thursday. OGI. So OGI is notable. I didn't cover it yesterday, not for any particular reason. I'm just not trading it, so it's not on my radar as much. But one thing I do want to note is in a recent video where I talked about OGI, I pointed out how bear volume was higher than bull volume on the way up, and someone pointed out that that is due to the uplisting and being on a higher exchange, the NASDAQ, on the way down and not being on the NASDAQ on the way up, and that is a valid point. That is the discrepancy in the volume, and it's not there on the Canadian side because the Canadian has always been on its exchange, which is what, the TSX? So we're on the TSX in Canada, and the volume is only different here because of the uplisting. So that is important, but what are we looking for? A daily lower high. 369 and 375 are resistances. 367 is the current top. So if we can't break those two little levels, it's just a daily lower high. Yes, it's solid bull volume. Yes, we have created a lot of space where we will expect a daily higher low will form compared to 271. But until we see a daily trend change, can't even begin to think about talking about the bottom being set. Have to change the daily trend. Hourly higher low is 346. If we fail to break those 360, 375 resistances and lose the hourly uptrend, then our daily pullback to look for a higher low will be underway. One other important note, actually let's just do VGW first. VGW earnings just came out. Looks like they had another profitable quarter. We'll see what the reaction is tomorrow. 338 is the first resistance, and then we're looking up at 4 psychological as the next level. And let's see if the bulls can get a bullish response, keeping in mind anything under 423 is a weekly lower high. So HMUS, I don't have a chart here because it's traded on the CSE and TradingView doesn't have it yet, but HMUS had very notable volume today. That is an ETF for the USMJ space. So very notable volume. That being said, very notable volume on HMUS is a few $1,000,000, and that's peanuts in the grand scheme of things. So taking it with a grain of salt, but there is a bank, and now it's slipping my head, forget the name. Members were pointing out they did a good job of highlighting this volume. Oh, I'm forgetting it. But on the... That's going to bug me for the rest of the video. So there was a bank that was doing a lot of buying, and they ended up plus about $2 million today on HMUS. So potentially, they're making their bet that the bottoms are in, and it'll be notable if they keep buying into tomorrow. And it's a bank that's slipping my mind because it's in Canada, and I've never heard the name before. But look at the... I'll find it. So there it is. This is the name. Let's see if we can say it in French. Desjardins. Desjardins. It's as good as it gets. So they loaded today. Again, small amount, but notable for the previous volume that we're seeing on this ETF. So daily trend change is needed for everybody. Why the USMJ space is different than Canadian names? We already have a higher low forming on most names. And some names are already excelling. So I'll look at that in just a second. But for Curaleaf here, we have our low, high of the bull move. Higher low has now been set. And if you are a Canadian MJ bull, this is exactly what you want to see happen. Low volume on consolidation, higher low established. Of course, we need the follow through still. But as far as the setup goes, this big bull move, just a daily lower high, have to see the higher low and higher high to get follow through. So our higher low is now set. 781 is a must hold level, and we have to break 929. If we fail to break 929 and come down and break 781, it's a big red flag that the bear market is still in full control of the bears. OH with a huge day today. So OH, we're looking for the deal to potentially go through tomorrow as the timeline is expiring and the DOJ is not stopping it. So we saw the premium shrink on OH as we were looking at the deal to go through. And we have our low, high, lower, low. But here we are at resistance, and we did break it. Bulls want more follow-through for a more convincing break. If we cannot get more follow-through and we top out tomorrow and pull back, then it's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. But if we break 644 more convincingly, we break the daily lower highs. Is that a trend change? No. We still need the higher low and higher high, but the bulls have a lot of space created now where we can pull back, and we have 23% of space. We can pull back 12% and only get back half the move, and then try and change the daily trend. So creating a lot of space for the OH bulls to work with, need that daily trend change. IAN notably stood out today comparative to USMJ names as far as the percentage gain. We did see some profit taking at the end of the day with hourly consolidation, and we do know that it's just a daily lower high. If you are interested in IAN and not in a position as a bull, we're looking for a lower high compared to 214. I would want to see a rejection from 214, a daily higher low to form. I would then look to scale in for the daily higher low. I would exit if 152 broke, because that would mean my thesis of a daily higher low is incorrect. And we would have to form the right shoulder and then get the bull break of this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So, sitting on the sidelines here in cash, aside from TRUL, that would be a trade coming to me. You give me the setup that I'm looking for, I'll take that trade. Anything different than that, and I'm not going to take the trade because it's not the setup that I'm looking for. TRUL. So thesis on this trade was bulls are holding up way better than everybody else. If we see the Canadian MJ sector bounce as a whole, I believe the position of TRUL is very healthy to see a break of this resistance and get some follow through. So that's what we got. And after the entry yesterday that I talked about in the video, nice follow through today. I'm still in that position. It's not a large enough position that I'm going to be looking to lock it in. I'm going to be trading the daily uptrend now. So anything above 1196 is a daily higher low. Hourly consolidation at the end of the day. No major red flags. Looking for an hourly higher low to form. We'll see if the bulls can break 1356 tomorrow to try for some continuation. The big factor here is we have changed the weekly trend convincingly. Higher low and higher high. No one else is doing that right now in the sector. This is the leader in the USMJ space, technically speaking, because of this trend change. It's leaps and bounds ahead of other names. Let's look at other names. IAN. This bounce, IAN can make a bounce. Look at how much we would need to see to be in the same spot. We could bounce 30% from here, go 30% more. We could go 50%. 50% from where we stand, just forming a weekly lower high. Then we need a higher low and a higher high. So for that to play out, we would be talking maybe 6 weeks from now, we could potentially change the weekly trend if things went perfectly for the bulls. TRUL has already done it. So it's leaps and bounds ahead of other names in the sector as far as that technical change. Now we just need to see how much follow through can the bulls put together. So have to hold 1196 for a daily higher low. Next resistance level after 1356, we're going to be looking up at 1409 and 1431. So I'm going to try and let this position ride out a bit longer, and the fact that it's smaller, designated as a swing position, and because it's on the OTC with less liquidity, that's why I'm letting it play out longer. GTII, real tight hourly equilibrium, broke bull right at the end of the day. So that's our hourly trend change, giving us the daily higher low. Low, high, higher low. Anything under 1298 is a lower high. If we break that level, we change the daily trend. And the weekly chart is more developed than other names because we do have a weekly higher low. We still have to break 1445 to change the trend, but at least we have a bounce, a higher low, and now we'll see, can the bulls pull off a higher high over the next couple of weeks. MedMen, poor MedMen bulls. Oh man, a brutal day to watch everybody else thrive in the short term, and MedMen hits a new all-time low and closes near the low of the day. It's just share overhang, it's shares unlocking, it's dilution, and it is hurting long-term investors. C-Web, daily high or low trying to be established here. Not entirely clear that it has been. If we can break this little 1831 and 1840 top tomorrow, then it will very clearly be set, and it's all about 1958 from there to change the daily trend. So I have a CGC position. I will be looking to sell it, anticipating a daily lower high, just like I scaled out the last oversold bounce. Then it's all about the USMJ names. Can we change daily trends in Cureleaf, in C-Web, in everybody? And can APHA change the daily trend? Can CGC change the daily trend? That is the question. Can we change daily trends? Those names that already have are ahead of the game. What else do we got coming up? USMJ Bulls would love to see some kind of safe act catalyst before the end of the year. They are definitely positioned well at this point to benefit from that in a big way. Aside from that, we'll be looking to other names and their earnings. S&P 500 had a big bull day. We're looking up at all-time highs. We'll certainly always be cautious on any weakness in the S&P 500, but I'm not going to be concerned with the S&P 500 weakness unless we lose the weekly uptrend. If we lose the weekly uptrend, then I would be concerned about how the S&P 500 is going to negatively impact the sector. So I hope you had a good day out there. Again, have your game plans established. No FOMO. There is no rush here on these positions. And we're looking for daily lower highs for most names, higher lows set on USMJ, and it's going to be an interesting next 4 or 5 trading days while we see, can the bulls prove something to us and put any pressure on the shorts? Because again, shorts you better believe that these shorts are loading every daily lower high until it doesn't work. Because it's worked time and time and time again, and the one time it doesn't work, they're going to remember that. Thanks again. Do good things. See you soon. Have a good night.